Today we're going to talk about one of the main issues that is literally causing craziness in our world today. And no, it's not politics. Stick around for a discussion. You are enjoying the Step Out and Thrive podcast. Welcome back to the Step Out and Thrive podcast. My name is Bethany B. Joy, and you're here. You have permission here in the Step Out and Thrive community to take off whatever role that you're having to hold on to. That's right. You get permission while you're watching this, while you're listening to this. Well, I mean, if you're driving, don't, not drive. Be careful. But if you're doing normal things, I guess you still have to do your role. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to give yourself permission to just be and listen to my words right now and feel like you don't have to show up in any certain way. I want you here just as you are. This community is for people that pour out, that love God, but often feel that they show up into a room where they know everybody else's story, but nobody really knows theirs because they don't have a place where they can come and just be and get poured into. That's what Step Out and Thrive is all about. It's having you know how to create a community like that. And with that community, so they can be with you as you can do what God has called you to do. Today, we're right in the middle of our Rooted series. And the whole purpose of this series is we've talked about kind of like going to the doctor when you know something's off and you're like, what is it? And they ask you all these questions. That's kind of what this is. None of these are condemning, y'all. You should be able to go through the series and go, oh, I never thought about that. That's something to be aware of. All of these are signs of your deeply being rooted in Christ and who He is and who you are. So with that being said, today we are going to talk about a word that I end up talking with most of my clients and most of my groups about at some point, because there's been so much said about it. And I know I'm going to say this word and people are like, oh, they're going to have one or two reactions like, oh, good, or oh, no. Okay, I'm just going to say it. Ready? Hold your breath. Anxiety. So I just got it out. Okay, I got it out there in the open. It's there. Okay, first of all, let's talk about what it is and what it's not, because that is the most frustrating thing for me, okay? In this world, there is stuff going on that we should honestly feel fear about. We should feel something going on in our body as a reaction to that, because we're like, this isn't good. I don't feel safe. And that's reality. When something's real, when you are being chased by a dog, you should have real fear about it. That is fear. You are reacting to a threat that's actually there. True anxiety is something that is happening in our body as a fear of something that isn't necessarily materialized yet. It's what could be if blank, 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 blank. That's what changes it. It may seem real to you, but if it's not happening right now, and if it's in the distant future, that's the difference between fear and anxiety, okay? So with that being said, there's a lot of anxiety going on in the culture today because of, I'm not going to go into politics here. I'm not going to do it, but you have to address some of it. You know, elected leaders, elected officials, things going on in different countries, that's there. Finances, that's there no matter what is going on in the world, right? Relationships, work, parenting, there's stuff that goes on that brings stuff up in our bodies that we're like, oh my gosh, why am I feeling this way? I should be excited, but I'm not excited. And then what do we try to do? Most of the time, we try to what? Push it down, because sometimes we can't deal with it when it's coming up. I don't know about y'all, but I only have so much threshold, right? One of the hardest things that we talk about, especially in the inner circle groups and some of my one-on-ones as well, is allowing emotions, allowing what our bodies are feeling to come into the room. We fight so stinking hard to disconnect because that's what we feel like we have to do to get the next thing done, that it is hard to come into the room and pay attention to what we're feeling because we've worked so hard to block all that off. So if you're listening to this and you're going, I know I felt anxious, but I don't know how it feels like in my body, you're normal. Congratulations. You've learned how to walk forward. But anxiety is not something that we have to deal with on a day in and day out basis. Meaning it's not something that we have to fight. So with all this being said, let me tell you about a little bit of my story here, and especially my wonderful world of anxiety, because I've walked through it myself, and I've had to do a lot of different techniques and realities and all that. And so I'm going to pull out one thing, and this was when I was gradually losing my hearing loss, or hearing and vision actually at the same time. And I remember my mobility instructor coming over with the white canes. And the first time she did, I said, that's awesome. You can take that back with you because I'm not keeping it. Because I just could not see myself out in public with this white cane, because I'm just like, oh, heck no. I'm independent. I do not need a stupid white cane. Heck to the no. And she let me keep it. And so I hid it in my closet for like weeks. Like my kids had no idea I even had it. And then came one of the trips that I had to take. And I had to learn. I'm like, look, I'm going to have to use this. That's before I got a dog. That's before I could even think of getting a dog. That was so far like off in my mind at the time. But I knew that I was traveling, and I knew the airport and crowded environments was one of the places that I felt the most unsafe, because I felt like I was knocked around all because I did not know the depth perception, and they didn't know what was going on with me. So they took it the wrong way if I bumped up against them. And so it was just not a good thing. That was not a very safe environment for me. So to learn how to use the cane kind of told them some people still have no idea what a white cane is, by the way. And I'm going to ADD moment for a moment. I have to go off on this. If you see somebody with a white cane, with their out in front, and I don't know, they're either tapping or they have a ball at the end and they're rolling, okay, it either means that they're low vision. They can still have some vision. I have a little bit of vision. Or they might not have any vision. Regardless, they don't see what's going on in front of them very clearly. I don't know how else to tell that to people. I've had so many weird things happen to me when I've had my cane. Even my guide dog, people just assume I see nothing. And if I see something, that must mean that I see well and I don't need the guide dog or the cane or whatever. And I'm like, you know nothing. Like, blindness is a spectrum. Anyway, off the soapbox for that. I could probably do a whole episode on that, but that's not what this is about. So coming back onto that. So I was in the airport. I made it through everything. I was in Texas, and I'll never forget. I went over to the leader's house that we were with. We were with a group. And for some reason, in my mind, it was daylight. And I was around people that I kind of knew. And I was like, well, I don't need my cane. Sweet. Awesome. So I was at the house. I did decent. Okay? And this is back before I was really admitting that I needed help with things. Imagine that. It's been a journey. Anyway, that evening wrapped up, and I was with the leader. We were talking, and with the husband and wife and some other friends. And my ride left. Like, they were actually already in the car. And again, like I said, I'm an independent person, so I don't ask for help. I just find my way and do things. Notice the problem here. It is dark by this point. I'm at the beginning of my vision loss journey. I take a look out the door and I see nothing. And I'll never forget that moment of looking out the door, knowing my ride was out there. I did not know how to contact them because, again, we're just kind of new friends. And they were waiting for me, and yet I didn't feel safe enough to like go by myself out of the house, and I didn't have my cane, and there was all these things that were going up, and I just remember this tightness coming up in me. And yes, there was a fear, but nothing was happening yet, right? There was something in front of me, You could have said, but this was not me being chased by a bear or a lion. Okay, there was not a real big fear there, but there was something that was coming up on me. Like, oh my goodness, what is going to happen? Like, and I couldn't even name what I was afraid of. I just felt like I wanted to fall deep in the ground and not be seen again. Like, that was the biggest thing I could think of at the moment. And as I was looking out, I remember this hand that came gently on my shoulder. And I looked back, and it was the leader at the time. And the leader asked, "Would you like help?" And everything in me was like, no. But the way it was done, I realized yes. And I'll never forget, it was the first time that I had really asked for help in a situation like that. And we did. We went one step at a time. And I'm really glad I had help, because I think I walked off that sidewalk like 500 times. It was not good. But I was able to get in the car, and I got back. And that moment changed a lot for me. Because A, I realized what was going on with my vision. But B, I realized, wait a second, I don't have to necessarily sit with that anxiousness preventing me from taking the next best step. I could bring it into the room. I could talk about it. I didn't have to push it down. And in fact, I could welcome other people into it. So I'm curious if there's any kind of anxiety going on with you. And one of the big features to take away from today is to allow that anxiety to have a voice and space into the room. A lot of times our emotions and anxieties get worse because we try to block it and we try to stuff it down. We try to pretend like it's not there. And that keeps us from being rooted. That keeps us from being the person that God wants us to be. So my challenge for you is to sit with what is. What is anxiety telling you? What is it trying to protect you from? See, the anxiety wasn't necessarily trying to keep me safe necessarily, but it was preventing me from asking for help. It was preventing me from really accepting my new limits that I had. And it was preventing me from really taking on a better form of life that I didn't even know existed at the time. Now, I wish I could say that was the day that I took over and I was able to identify my anxiety and give it a voice. And yeah, no, not even close. It's like, there was a lot more to that journey. And I could probably share more about that. But it was the beginning. All of us have a beginning. For some of us, this is a story that we've heard time and time and time again. And just know that you're in good company. For some of us, it's the beginning. For some of us, this might not be an issue. It might not be as big of a struggle as others. But it is something to be aware of. So my challenge for you is to pay attention, to give anxiety a voice, to give fear even a voice. And I know that's like, what? No, your body's trying to tell you something. Pay attention. It may not be truth, but it is trying to tell you something, that something needs to have a voice, that something needs to be addressed. So what is that? If you found this exercise really hard and challenging, I really encourage you this week to go into the Step Out and Thrive community on the free tier. Go into there. There's going to be this podcast in the community and a thread underneath it. And maybe you just need to read. Maybe you just need to just put something on there that's like, hey, I don't understand this exercise. Let other people be there. It's not a huge community. There's only about 30 of us maybe in there. So just know that you're in a safe place. You're with other people that are doing the work too. And if you want more live interaction, that's what the inner circle is. So that's the paid level of the Step Out and Thrive community. But regardless, this is here to help you grow roots. We want to walk with you in this journey. So wherever you are, know that we are glad to be with you no matter what. All right. Find us at community.stepoutandthrive.com or just go to stepoutandthrive.com. That's my links page. And you can click on join the community. And there's also many other links there that you can click on. So it's just my hub of everything in one place because I'm scattered sometimes. With that being said, dare to do more than just survive, step out and thrive. See you guys back here next week. Bye. Thanks for enjoying today's Step Out and Thrive podcast, the one place that you can always count to dare to do more than just survive, to step out and thrive. As always, for more information, please check out BethanyBJoy.com or StepOutAndThrive.com.